The purpose of this short video is to introduce you to the equation editor that may be used within Microsoft Word. So I have a Microsoft Word document here, and I'm going to go up here to the top and click on Insert, and then over to the right I'm going to select Equation. So there's also some hotkey combinations for this as well, but I'll just click on Equation, and then it brings this little thing up here where it says type your equation here. So actually, just also to look at this a little bit more clearly, I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to change the zoom to 200, and we can see this the equation editor here like this. So you want to make sure if you're going to be typing an equation, you want to be in the equation mode or have the equation option. So if you go up to the top and you click back on equation, you want to see all these symbols here, and then you want to see what they're calling structures over here on the right. So let's say that I want to type in the equation F equals MA. So if I just click there and type F equals MA, then I get a nice looking, I can type over here, a nice looking equation F equals MA. Now we can make this a little bit fancier looking. So for example, let's say I want to have a subscript here. So I want to say F sub X. So I'm going to delete that F, and then I'm going to go up here to the top to the script option where it says add a subscript or superscript. So if I click on that down arrow, you see these different options here. So I'm going to click on the one that shows a subscript. So when I click on that, now there's two boxes. So in the first box I can type F, and then in the second box I will type X, and now I get F sub X equals MA. Now maybe I want to put a summation in front of this. So I have to go back to equation here, and there are these large symbols here, large operators, but I don't actually like how that one works. I think those are too big for what I'd like to do. Although that's how you would put in if you wanted to put limits, you could do that. I'm just going to put. I just want to use the Greek symbol sigma here in front. So if I go up here to symbols, and I can select more here, you'll see all these. So these are the basic math symbols here, but you can also go up here to the top to basic math, and you can click Greek letters. So if I go to Greek letters and I click uppercase sigma and I put that in, then I get looks like the sum of the forces in the x direction is equal to the mass times the acceleration. So I can grab this. I can do a Control C and for copy, and Control V for paste. Paste another example here. So maybe I want to write this and say that the acceleration is the derivative of velocity with respect to time. So I'd want to go to fraction to select a fraction kind of a look. And then I could put, for example, dv dt like that. If I wanted to, again, make the acceleration have a subscript, I'd have to put a sub x, or maybe I'll make this a sub y, and then up here for the v, I do the same thing. I could put v sub y. So another thing to notice with this, that these are centered on here. So maybe if I go back to the view and go to page width, you can see that these are centered. So when you, if you select here on the right-hand side the equation options, you can change to inline. And what that means, that's basically if you're going to use this in a sentence. So if I wanted to use this in a sentence, I could say, here is an example of an equation. And I could put it directly in line like that. Here is another equation. And again, if I wanted to, I could select on this and copy it down here, and it would center it. This is so if it's not inline, right? If the opposite of inline is display. So if you go to inline, you can change it to display, and if you're in display, you can change it to inline. So there are many features available here when you're using the equation editor. This is not meant to introduce all of them by any means, but it's simply to say that these things do exist. You can see there's trig functions up here, so if you want to put in the sine of some angle, you can go up here, sine of 30 degrees. And the degree is a basic math symbol, so it shows up here under symbols, or again, if you click on the little down arrow and then go to basic math, it'll show up here, so click on degrees. There are other things that you can add in here. So for example, let's say I want to go back to insert an equation, and I want to talk about vectors. So if I go to accent, if I select on the rightwards arrow above, I can press that, and then I could put in the, let's say, the R vector, and that's going to equal something. So let's say that's going to be 4, and then I want to put a unit vector. So for example, for the unit vector, I could put an arrow, or I could put the hat symbol, so I could put an I like that, so R equals 4I. Other things I could do, let's say, so I go back, insert symbol, or sorry, insert equation. If we're talking about matrices, you can put matrices in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Go back here. Let's see, what else would there be? Oh yeah, so an integral, for example, if I wanted to integrate f of x dx, and I want to go between 0 and 1, for example. So the point of this is that it's actually quite powerful. You can basically type anything you want, and again, it's called Equation Editor. And remember that they can either be in display mode or inline mode if you want to include it in a sentence.